So I think most seventh graders think that this is probably one of their favorite chapters in seventh grade. It's a chapter that we work on Rube Goldberg machines. So I'd like to explain at the very beginning of this chapter what a Rube Goldberg machine is and what you will be doing. So Rube Goldberg machine is based on cartoons that a man by the name of Rube Goldberg created. I'm assuming that Rube either stands for Rupert or Reuben or something, but he drew these fanciful cartoons to show a very simple process made very, very hard. So let me give you an example. This is one of his machines, and the whole purpose of this machine is to wipe the man's face with a napkin. So it starts out at A, which is the spoon that's in his hand. The spoon in his hand moves up to his face, and as it does, it pulls on a cord. The cord pulls all the way over to the left to the spoon, C, that had a cracker in it. It pulls C so hard that it throws the cracker all the way up into the bowl marked G. The little parrot turns around because now he's got food. He starts to peck into that bowl, but as he does, he drops crumbs into the bucket, H. H starts to get heavy, and it pulls down. And as it pulls down, it moves the string that it's attached to all the way over to J. That string opens up a lighter, which lights the fuse of a rocket. The rocket takes off, and as it does, it cuts a string that is holding the napkin on a, I don't know what to call it, on a pole that's underneath a clock that's been ticking, going back and forth, tick, 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 tick. And as it goes back and forth, that pole, while that rope is there, the napkin's not moving. But as soon as the rocket leaves and it cuts that rope, now the napkin can go back and forth and wipe the man's mouth. That's a Rube Goldberg machine. Here's another one. This is a picture that he drew, and it is a picture of a man that wanted to remember to drop his letter into the mailbox. And I guess he kept forgetting or something. So what it does is, and I'm not going to go through all of these little pieces because he has so many different pieces. Maybe we'll just go with the real basic ones. He has this giant machine tied onto his waist. And when he walks by a shoe store, a place that repairs boots, the hook, A, hooks onto the boot shop, the boot that's hanging outside of the shop. When it does, it causes the boot to kick the football. The football goes into the basket. The basket causes a rope to be on the watering can, and it tips the watering can, and it gets the man wet. And when he gets the man wet, the rope that goes up over his head, it looks like it has all sorts of different things that it does. I can't even tell you what all those pieces are. But ultimately, it brings down a screen that reminds the man to drop his letter off in the mailbox. So a Rube Goldberg machine simply has tons and tons of different causes and effects that ultimately solve one simple problem. So you're going to build one. And we used to build them here in the classroom, and you would have a table and would be working just on a table. But you have the best year to make a Rube Goldberg machine because you have your entire house, yard, outside, inside, wherever you're allowed to go. You can build your machine as big as you want or as small as you want. You get to decide. So let's figure out what we're going to do with these machines. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to decide a task. Maybe your machine is going to do nothing more than knock a ping pong ball into a bucket. Or maybe at the very end of all your machine, a paper airplane is going to be launched. Or maybe it's going to turn a switch, will turn a fan on. or maybe it's going to stable. There's so many little simple tasks. Maybe it's going to open a door. You can come up with any task that you want that is a simple task that your machine is going to accomplish, but it's going to, at the end, accomplish one main task. Just like Rube Goldberg's machines, one of them was just to get the napkin to wipe in front of his face. One of them was to remind the man to mail his letter. There's so many different ones that could be simple tasks. That's your very first task that you're going to figure out. In your machine, you're going to have at least, well, not at least, all 6 of the simple machines that we've been studying. Now, wait a minute, you're saying, hang on, we haven't studied anything yet. You're right. I'm putting this video about Rube Goldberg at the beginning of this chapter, and I'm also going to play it again at the end of the chapter, because while we're working on the chapter, you're going to be working on your Rube Goldberg machine. So as you learn more, you'll know more of what to do with it. But your Rube Goldberg will have at least 6 simple machines in the process. And here's some pictures of these simple machines. There's an inclined plane, so you'll have a ramp of some sort. There's a wedge. Now, wedges often are put down as axes, and the head of an axe is a wedge, but it could be a wedge that simply stops something from moving. It's going to have a lever in it, a wheel and axle, a screw, a pulley, all sorts of different things. And after we've done this chapter, this page will seem so much more understandable. I'm just putting it at the beginning because I want you to start thinking about your Rube Goldberg machine. So let's break it down. The first thing you're going to do, you're going to decide what goal do you want your machine to do. That's the very first step. The second step, you're going to watch a whole bunch of videos on Rube Goldberg, and I'll be putting them in the assignments every single day. I'll put some different ones in. This will give you an idea of what Rube Goldberg machines look like and what you need to do for them. You're going to start gathering your materials. Make sure you ask Mom and Dad before you take stuff. You're going to, as you go along, you're going to plan each step of your machine separately. So you're going to plan, maybe you're going to use a screw, and it's going to be a rope that's going down and down and down and down and down until it hits something as it's curved around a pole. Work on that one thing separately until it works, and then work on the next one, and then work on the next one. And then finally, you're going to take all 6 of those machines and you're going to join them together so that they work as one machine. So you're going to drop a ball, or you're going to start one thing moving, and after you've touched that one thing, the machine will go through all 6 simple machines until your objective is ended. Your machine should be built so that you only touch the very first thing, and then you don't touch anything else. It should all go together. I know you guys have watched us do this in Sanctuary. If you're brand new this year, you're going to have to ask some classmates, but you're also going to have to look at the videos. The videos will help. Here's a man who made one just on a desktop to take his hat off. He used all sorts of different machines. And look, he used a coffee pot, and he used your imagination is what's going to limit you on this. You can use as many different things as possible. Here's some kids that built theirs in their house. Here's some smaller little plans that they did, that they used on a tabletop. So it can be very, very big. It can be very, very small. It can be outside. It can be inside. It's something that you should be able to set up and reuse again. So don't get something that takes 3 or 4 days to set up and then 3 or 4 days to set up again. But figure that out. When you finish it, you're going to draw a picture of it. That's going to be called your blueprint. And I wanted to put this picture on all at the beginning to show you that the picture doesn't have to be exact drawings of exactly what the shape is that every single thing that you've made. Notice he drew a ball, he drew a line for a ramp, he drew rectangles for textbooks, rectangles, a line for a pen, he drew little dots, he labeled things. So this is a picture that gives you an example of what your blueprint should look like. But the other thing that you need, notice he used the letters A, B, C, D, and E in his drawing. You should also have a write-up that tells me what A is, what B, what's happening at A, what's happening at B, what's happening at C, what's happening at D. And that's over on the right side. It is the write-up. So when you are finished with your Rube Goldberg machine, you're going to have your machine, you're going to have a blueprint, and you're going to have a write-up. Now, I will tell you that this write-up, or excuse me, this blueprint does not have everything that I would like on it. It's correct that it has the order drawn. It does have the parts labeled, the wooden ramp, the textbook. It does have the cause and effect, something that's happening. So the wedge moves, the tennis ball moves. The tennis ball hits the book moves. So it has the causes and effect labeled. But what it's missing is that I want somewhere where you label start, so I know where to start looking. And I want you to label end, so I know where it ends. And the other thing, instead of those little dots that the man drew, I'd like you to put arrows so that I know where things are going. This is called a rubric. This is how I'm going to grade your Rube Goldberg. If your start happened, you let go of the ball or whatever you're moving, and it did what it was supposed to do, you get 5 points. As without stopping, does it go to the next item that's going to happen, the next cause and effect? If this happens, then it'll cause that to happen. If that goes through, you get another 5 points. If it keeps going and does the third cause and effect and the fourth cause and effect, you'll get points for that. Your design and creativity. Did you actually try? Did you actually just slop something together and hope it worked? If there's lots of creativity, there's points on there. If you did more things happening, there's more points. If your blueprints were neat and accurate, that's the picture. Is your write-up complete and accurate? Both of those should be either typed or in pen, by the way. And did you use all 6 machines? That's going to be on there. So all of these different things are what I'm going to be looking at when I grade your Rube Goldberg. So again, here's that picture again. When I look at, if you drew this blueprint for me, I would take points off because start is not marked, end is not marked, arrows aren't though. So that's how you would lose points. You would probably get a 5 for your write-up because it's telling me exactly what happened at each point. So those are the different things that we look at. I look at when I see your Rube Goldberg machine. So when you pass something in, you're going to pass in your blueprints, you're going to pass in your write-up, and you're going to make a couple videos. The first one you're going to just walk through and you're going to tell me this is what's going to happen here, and then the ball's going to come over here, and this is and you're going to just walk through without the machine working and tell me exactly what the machine is supposed to do. And then the next video, you're actually going to show us the machine. And the last 2 days of school, we're going to do nothing more than watch all of your Rube Goldberg machines because it's important to share all the cool stuff that you're doing. So your imagination can go as wild as you like. You can make this thing as huge as you like, so long as you have all 6 simple machines in there, so long as you have a blueprint and a write-up, and you do one simple task for all of these machines to start. So this is, I know at the beginning of the chapter, this is a little confusing because we haven't studied the simple machines yet, but as we go through the chapter, you'll see what you can add to your machine and add to your machine and add to your machine. So we will have fun. It's going to be good.